To those who have accidentally killed someone, what went wrong? My best friend and I were unable to do anything for another friend of ours who fell on a climbing trip. We were desperate to help her, but there really wasn't much anyone could have done so far into the backcountry. We couldn't wake her up or move her safely, so we just kinda sat there. Eventually a helicopter came, but she was already brain dead by the time they got her to a hospital. It's been a few years since, and I ended up going to med school as a result, so now I know nothing could have been done. I still feel uncomfortable about it though. I'm in the medical field. I know it doesn't technically count as killing someone, but failing to save someone due to lack of experience, inadequate reaction time, or even your choice of medication can sure feel like you killed someone. I clearly remember the first patient under my care who died unexpectedly. I ordered the standard care medication for him and even joked around with him on the way out of the door. 2 hours later I was in his room as part of the cardiac arrest team. He didn't make it. There were signs somebody more experienced than me at the time might have picked up, that for this particular patient standard care wouldn't be enough. As an older colleague said, it gets easier to deal death over time, but the day it stops affecting you, you should stop practicing medicine. Not me, but a good friend. He was driving around a corner with a date, mid-afternoon, and the city had freshly mowed wet grass that got blown into the road by the riding lawn mower mulching instead of bagging. The car hit the wet grass on the road, like a banana peel, understeered the corner and he slid off the side and into a tree. All this while only doing 35 mph, but the car hit the tree directly in the passenger side door, and a branch impaled her side. He said he sat there and watched her bleed out before the ambulance could show up. Not me, but my stepdad about 2 weeks ago hit and killed someone on the road. For context, he is an overnight truck driver for a local company. The person he hit was attempting suicide via highway and my stepdad was the unlucky person to do the deed. It was about 3 a.m. and raining, so visibility was low. The guy was also wearing full black besides blue shoes. I ended up seeing his dashcam POV and boy was it rough. You couldn't really see the fact it was human afterwards. Stuff happens though, and it really messed him for a while and still messes with his work. He wasn't able to drive on the highway for a bit. I don't know if it's the same. I did CPR on a guy who died. He was the first person I ever did CPR on. Since then, I've done CPR on an infant that died, a little girl that drowned, and she died. Then on a grown woman who lived. I was driving to play a co-ed soccer game at night, first snowfall of the year. Didn't even make it off my own street before suddenly seeing something under my headlights. Didn't have time to stop before hitting him. I don't know why he was lying on the road, but I do wish I had noticed him sooner so that I could have asked. My wife has a friend who was driving and hit someone on a Lime scooter. The person was drunk and in the wrong lane, so my wife's friend wasn't at fault and didn't get charged with anything. But the experience was incredibly traumatizing, and last I heard she was going through therapy. We just turned left at an intersection when the car in front of me wanted to turn right into a convenience store parking lot. The problem was a truck was blocking the entranceway due to the snow, so he came to a sudden stop, so I rear-ended him. It was an older gentleman with his wife. They both seemed fine and were raging at the truck who took off. I ended up being charged for following too close. About a month and a half later I get a letter saying the guy's estate is suing me for causing his death. I sent it to my insurance company who settled the case. I was not allowed to see any of the case files. From what people told me, he was a smoker, so he wasn't in the best of health already. I'm still not sure how to feel about the whole thing. I kind of wish it had kind of went to trial, so I could have closure one way or the other. This was an acquaintance, but they had an angry drunk guy at the bar provoking them into a fight. The guy kept pushing them and doing light hits, so they went outside. One punch later and the other guy is knocked out, and his head smashed into a sharp corner of concrete. Technically I'm on the other side of this. But in 2016 in Shreveport, Louisiana, they turned on new stoplights. My oldest son's father was stopped at that light. Somebody rear-ended the car, killing him instantly. The guy said he totally forgot they were turning the lights on, and he was petting his dog. ITT a lot of car-related deaths. Not me, but my second cousin's husband accidentally killed his mother at a gender reveal by somehow making a pipe bomb. I would assume what went wrong was making a pipe bomb for a gender reveal. It made national news, and now the entire internet makes fun of them every time a bad gender reveal comes up. It was indirectly. I was a heroin addict. I turned a good friend onto heroin. The last time I saw him, he was years into his addiction and I was clean. He looked at me and said, "You ruined my life." He died not long after. This will haunt me until I die. I have been off opiates for almost 30 years now. I lost my first girlfriend a few years ago to suicide. I don't wholly blame myself for it anymore. but I still feel responsible. I still think I could have done more. I failed to be there for her when she needed me most. As a result, the way I view and manage relationships has changed. It's made me more openly expressive in how I feel towards friends, but I don't allow myself to have deeper relationships than that. I don't think I killed her, but my inability to see the signs and lack of maturity did. Someone was illegally passing on a double solid yellow. I hit them at highway speed in my semi. I was hauling 40 M3 of sour candy, so I didn't dare risk flopping my rig by swerving. Killed a mum and her 3 kids. Not much I could do about it. Took a few days off and was back at it the following week. I was hit by a car while crossing a crosswalk. The car was driven by an elderly man. He was very stressed about it. He apparently died shortly after due to heart complications. I didn't tell my parents. They found out several weeks later from the police. That was quite the conversation. My friends never let me lay that down that I had killed a man. And an old guy at that. They reminded me every time we passed the street they named after him. He was apparently a respected member of our local community. I've had my best friend drive my moped. It was way too fast for him, and he was drunk. He drove full throttle into an overseas container. I should've never given him the bike. It's been a rough couple of years after that, but I'm okay now. On Christmas Eve I made the decision to remove my father from life support. He had oropharyngeal cancer and was brain dead from a carotid blowout. I know it was the right decision, but I'm pretty fucked up by it. I also rescheduled his first immunotherapy treatment until after the holidays, and I wonder if he had it as originally scheduled if he would have lived a little longer. I sure miss him. I didn't accidentally kill them. But I was riding home with a friend of mine on our bikes down the turnpike when a senior citizen who didn't check their blind spot changed lanes and sent my friend into and over the guardrail into a tree, severing his spine on impact, paralyzing him from the shoulders down, ribs puncturing his lungs as well. I just had to sit there and listen to him gasp and struggle to take his last few breaths on our linked intercom headsets. Not me, but a friend of mine had her little sister in the car with her when they were both teens. The car stalled, they got into an accident, and the sister died. It wasn't my friend's fault, but her mother never forgave her and always made her feel guilty about it.